God of War 2 stole from God of War, and I can prove it with 5 points. Point number 1. Everyone knows that Kratos is the main character of God of War. And what's the most distinctive thing about Kratos' appearance? That's right, it's his bald head. Now look at this image from God of War 2. That's Kratos! That's Kratos' bald head! These guys stole this character straight up and put him in a different game and thought we wouldn't notice? I know what you're thinking. Oh, probably just coincidence. There's a ton of games with angry bald guys, but come on. I mean, for God's sake, they called it God of War 2. Wake up, dude. Buddy, you've got no idea how far this rabbit hole goes. Point number 2. The whole setting of the game, straight ripped. They put this original character in ancient Greece, exactly where God of War takes place. Now listen, there's a lot of time periods on Earth, okay? You got the dinosaur era, the Dark Souls era, the one with all the wig people. You mean to tell me that this God of War 2 game just happens to occur in the same time and place as God of War? Are you crazy? I'm sorry, I'm trying to stay calm, but this is a really big deal for me. Point number 3. Kratos has very particular weapons that he uses, and those are the Blades of Chaos, a gift and a curse from the original God of War Ares. Now these blades are very unique and iconic in the video game world. So what does God of War 2 use? The Blades of Athena. Yeah man, that's different enough to throw people off. Definitely nothing suspicious here. It's like the energy sword or a keyblade or that little blue guy's arm. Nobody knows where any of those weapons are from. That was sarcasm. At least 10 people played God of War. You thought we wouldn't recognize those blades because the name is different? Point number 4. The original Kratos lived in service to the gods of Olympus for 10 years and they were on great terms. He loved those guys. In fact, the gods were constantly giving him powers and weapons to help him fight his enemies. For reference, this is what the gods looked like in God of War. They were about 5 feet wide and 15 feet high and arguably the scariest looking things on Earth. This is accurate to Greek mythology where all of the gods are depicted as huge doorways.
Hey, how's it going? You want some magic?
The God of War 2 team knew they would be caught immediately if they used these iconic Greek door gods, so instead they made unrecognizable people-sized gods to cover up their theft. These people don't even look like doors. What they're doing here is so obvious. We know it's a God of War ripoff, buddy. Please. Do you think we're that foolish? Point number 5. This is the most unhinged part of the whole situation, maybe even the craziest thing in video game history. The people who made God of War 2 would go on to make another game. What was it called? Oh yeah, God of War. They even used the exact same name as God of War for another game, and they called it God of War again. These people are shameless. How far will they go to steal this beloved 2005 video game bald man's identity and try to hide the original game with their new knockoff version? That's all the evidence you need to know that God of War 2 took basically everything from God of War and put it in another game. Man, it is a fun game though. You should play it.